So Travis, I figured we'd just jump right into it.
Okay.
I know you well enough to just like jump off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I called your mom.
Cool.
And she's got this crazy story of you where at 15 months old, you were free soloing the side of your house.
Yeah.
Up onto the rooftop.
Nice. Shout out Patrice.
Right. Shout out Patrice. And looking back on that, man, I'm kind of curious. Like, do you think that moment at all shaped who you are or influenced your relationship to fear and risk? Was it something that was a part of you from the beginning, or like, is there anything about that you could learn from yourself now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's so funny. I never really thought of it from that direction, but I've told the story a bunch. And I guess from a deeper level, it's kind of as a kid, you know, you're just kind of your soul and your connection, and you're just being before maybe adults or teachers or anyone else kind of tells you yes or no, and it kind of puts you in these guidelines. And so I guess as a child, just wanting to be free or be me, it led me to climbing on the roof of the house. And shout out Mystic Mom for being just such a cool mom, because instead of just telling me, no, you're going to get hurt, you know, don't do that, she was more wanted to be like supportive. And so what that led to was just putting me into gymnastics, which was like, hey, mommy and me gymnastics. So she got to get to know me better and get to know her better. And we would start moving and playing. And I definitely think that was at least subliminally like a beautiful foundation of, hey, it's okay to do what you're doing, but let's do it safely. Or let's like, you know, in that connection with my mom, I have a wonderful relationship with her to this day. We have pretty much all my life. And yeah, it was also maybe divine timing in the sense that my gymnastics coach, Coach Kevin, ended up becoming the men's USA gymnastics coach like later in life. So he was super talented, and from a foundational early age, he was just really there and just kind of helping me and coaching me. And I didn't really know that at the time, but he was like, hey, I would love to put you into the kids program. And so I started learning a lot of that foundation, which I'm super grateful for. And it's something that I love to repay to my friends and community to this day. So
epic, man. So it sounds like Patrice was basically the coolest mom ever.
She's pretty rad. Yeah.
What's your relationship with your dad like?
John B, also a rad dude. Big fan of both of them. I'm really grateful that I never really went through a time where I didn't really want to spend time with them. You know, like they are pretty awesome humans. They and even they got a divorce during the pandemic, which was kind of shocking and you know, sad. But at the same time, I see both sides of the story. I know them possibly even better now because it's more of an individual awareness and conversation than it is as a family unit or as a team. But my dad, super cool. He grew up in Montana, and he a little bit more of a simple life growing up, but I think that's what makes it beautiful. He is super dedicated to his work and to his family, and dedicated to we both, my mom and dad, were pretty involved in the church growing up, so dedicated to a faith-based practice. And he was the dad who, although he went to work every day, he was, as soon as he got off work, he was at every practice. You know, he's either taking me to school or picking me up or coaching me, or, you know, being on the sideline. And if anything, it was like in high school when you don't want your parents around as much, he was the one that's still like coming to watch every practice. When no parents would watch practice, they would just come to the games. He was like that guy. So it was really cool just to bond over the art of sport and faith. And yeah, to this day, he's one of my best friends.
Epic, man. I'm sure that had a pretty big influence on you and the confidence you had in the risks you took throughout your life. For those that don't really know you, what's like your 1 minute, 2 minute highlight reel? What are some of the biggest, most fantastical things you've done that you're really proud of?
Oh, cool. Yeah. I would describe myself as a movement artist. Just want to inspire movement, not only through others maybe who see me, but to create a positive impact through movement is kind of a mission statement that I've had for many years. And it's a way that of a North Star of how I like to live my life. And so practices like acro yoga have been really powerful. Practices in calisthenics, parkour, ninja warrior, and circus arts, as well as team sports. Some highlights that have been on television, for example, have been on America's Got Talent, making it to the finals of American Ninja Warrior. I actually performed on Shark Tank as well as Celebrity Apprentice, which was a unique and wonderful experience. Got to perform in Europe. We got a golden buzzer in Georgia, the country. It was a childhood dream of mine. I told my dad that I would be a pro athlete playing in the NBA one day, and if I didn't make it, I would do halftime shows or be a mascot. And I really got to live out that dream and perform halftime show with my teammates. Positive Impact Movement is the name of our team. We also do a festival. My teammates are Andreas, Nathan, and Acro James, Epic Humans. And we really kind of identify as like one of the 4 elements. And so each one of us comes together, and with that strength that all coming together as one, we kind of create something more special than anything individually. So really proud of that, and also proud of the Awakened Warrior, the retreat that we get to collaborate on, and getting people out into nature. So I don't know. So those are some of the highlights I'm proud of. Also proud of the educational achievements, getting my MBA, studying under the SRF lineage, Self-Realization Fellowship under Yogananda, and getting my undergrad. So.
Wow, man, you've had like 3 lives already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. So I'm quite familiar with, your team, Andreas, Travis, Nathan, Acro James, right? And I know you guys each have these elements. Your element is water, correct?
No,
what is it?
Yes.
Fuck, I would have guessed water.
Yeah.
Air?
Yeah.
Air.
I'm the guy on top.
Okay. Yeah. My question is like, was there ever any discussion or debate, or was it like a 3, 2, 1 and you guys all said whatever your element was?
Well, James was probably the easiest because he's like a feet on the ground acrobat. He never leaves.
He's the rock.
He's the rock.
Earth.
Yeah, he's the heart. He's the rock. He's the ground. We like climb all over him. He's like a mountain. So that was pretty easy. And then Nathan is like super bendy, super fluid. He grew up like spearfishing and on boats, and grew up in Santa Cruz. So water was really an element that was kind of identified as him. Andreas being kind of like the spicy Mexican, kind of daredevil stunt man. He's kind of like a little bit more fire. He also has a really beautiful heart. So, and then air being not only a powerful element, but also kind of a little bit more connected to the heavens, if you will, a little bit more spiritual. So really, I really enjoy a deep meditation practice I've had in a gratitude practice for a number of years. So, and also I'm the flyer of the group, so I'm always on top of like a stack. So air identified pretty easily with me.
So my question for you, was there ever any discussion or debate on who should be which one?
Oh, there was no debate. James was the earth. At one point, I identify a lot with water as well, but I think Nathan is a better identifier of water. So
did you guys have to rock, paper, scissors over it, or
no,
what?
Not really. It was pretty smooth, actually. Yeah, we had like we probably talked about it for like 2 minutes, and
you're like, that's it. Let's lock it in.
Yeah. And it's so funny. We call Nathan and Andreas the twins because a lot of people kind of mix them up, and so
when they have the same haircut, totally.
So they're kind of the fire and water twins, which is kind of cool. So
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Man, I'm curious. So it sounds like that went pretty smooth. Mm-hmm. Were there any conflicts in your team ever? And how did you navigate those?
Yeah. Man, what to say here? The team dynamic is so interesting because we're so different and also so similar. The similarities being we all have an amazing work ethic and we really enjoy what we do, and we're not afraid to enjoy the process of the hard work or the practice. And on the flip side of that, when we show up in a beautiful way. you never know how someone will really show up. I guess when, game 7 energy, shots, you got 5 seconds on the shot clock type energy, like who's going to handle it. And what's really cool is I trust all of these guys with my life. And in reality, I actually have to, like, I'm, over 10 feet up in the air, in a handstand. If any of those guys buckle or drop, then I get dropped. So I have complete faith in those guys. And then on the same time, there's such different personalities of how we choose to communicate, or simple funny facts of showing up on time. Some of us are like on time is 10 minutes early and you're warmed up, and other people is like showing up at the time. Some of us are like 10 minutes late, but I'm there, so just different ways of like showing up and how we communicate. But it's been really beautiful. We had an opportunity to like live together for a while, and we've all had somewhat individual pursuits at the same time, or like duo pursuits. So we've been able to really work as a team and work on individual pursuits at the same time. It kind of feels like a rock band where so they kind of go off and do their own thing. Who's the
lead singer?
Lead singer? That's a good question. I don't know. Who do you think? Yeah.
Lead singer. Okay, we're gonna go lead singer. Yeah. We're gonna go guitar player, drummer, bass player.
Okay.
And we're gonna decide them right now.
Oh, decide them right now. I thought you were gonna pick for me.
Well, I'll like tell you what I'm thinking, and we'll talk through it.
Okay.
Maybe before we jump into that,
yeah.
For the people that have never seen your performance, by the way, it's incredible.
Thanks.
Can you just walk us through what it looks like and what it feels like for the audience?
Yeah. So
what is this performance? You got 4 guys. You're all the elements, but you said you're upside down in a handstand. What does that even mean?
Yeah. So we're actually doing acrobatic weightlifting, which is kind of crazy. The vision was there's an amazing gym in Venice here called Paradiso CrossFit, and they allow me to teach gymnastics there back in the day, and also just kind of perform and do crazy stuff. So I'm allowed to get creative there. It's my kind of creative studio. And so some of the things that I originally got creative with would be lifting weights, but what if I was doing like a bent over row or doing a deadlift, but what if I did that with someone maybe on my shoulders, or I'm standing on someone's shoulders? Or what if they would pass up the bar, they would lift it up, shoulder press it, and then since I'm standing on their shoulders, then I could grab it. So it's just kind of getting creative with not only weightlifting in general, but kind of my vision is like, no hate to like CrossFit Games. I think it's absolutely incredible, but it's a lot of like bigger, faster, stronger. Who is the fastest at this sport? And I was like, well, what if we could be who could be the most creative with weights, right? Almost more of like
it's an art,
a performance, a talent show, if you will. So thinking of a talent show of fitness versus just a competition of who's the fastest and strongest. So that was kind of the vision. And so wanted to just kind of be creative with it. And so it was taking an acro yoga approach, and acro yoga is founded by a friend, Jason Niemer. He's the co-founder, and it's a practice that I got certified in and been doing for many years, and taking that, but usually it's just body weight, but I've never seen most people do it with weights. And so that was kind of like a new pivot point. And then Acro James also is passionate about weightlifting. Excuse me. Acro James and I are passionate about weightlifting. So is Andreas. And so I was like, well, what if we could combine those elements? And I had a couple of videos that, went viral or decently well around the internet. And I apparently one of the casting directors for America's Got Talent saw those. And so they reached out and were like, hey, we love some of these videos that you do with Modern Tarzan and Acro James. Could you do something like that and help create something? And I was like, yeah, we could totally do that. It was during the pandemic, and Acro James was with Cirque du Soleil, and it was on pause, and Nathan at the same boat. And so just to have 2 friends, this rare blip of time where 2 Cirque du Soleil athletes are currently not available to tour, and I was about to go on my own dream tour, which was to kind of create a temple of movement, which would be like Muscle Beach, Santa Monica in the shape of a sacred temple. And then we could go out on tour, and we could not only do the traveling rings, I could teach calisthenics, pull-ups, and have a slack line, all the elements that you have at Muscle Beach, but also imagine being able to teach yoga, teach primal, teach acro. And I wanted to be able to bring that to different cities around the world, because I feel every city should have a Muscle Beach. And if they don't have one permanently, what if I could bring you one, bring it to Burning Man as an art piece, and then I could bring it to different cities around the world. So that was my dream. And literally I had a company, shout out Conscious City Guide, Kiki and Mel. They were like, hey, we'll help you fund this and make it happen. And let's launch March of 2020. And then that's when the world shut down. So I was like, I had my dreams, let's call it shattered at the time, or postponed, you know? And so, you know, when one window closes, you know, or when one door closes, maybe a window opens, and that's kind of what happened. So
epic, man. Yeah. And so for the people that don't know what acro yoga is, I feel like most of the world doesn't know. I live in Santa Monica. We live around here, so everyone knows kind of. What does acro even mean, and what is yoga? How does that even?
Yeah,
because I'm imagining, like, you know, girls in leggings and they're like doing mountain pose and there's down dog, right? So what is acro yoga? Yeah, so acro stands for acrobatics, and then yoga is just yoga, but it's mostly partner based. So maybe one of the most typical things you would see is a base and a flyer. A base would maybe there's two different elements. There's standing, and there's also on your back, which we call L-basing. So the simplest being, maybe you've like had a kid fly on your feet, and we call that bird, for example. So that would be like a traditional, easy beginner acro yoga pose. Also just standing on someone's shoulders. And then you can do like a high bird, which would be like if maybe you've seen the movie Dirty Dancing, where they like run and jump and you put your hands on the person's hips and they're like floating above on your hands. That's kind of would be like a standing bird, for example. And yeah, it's been a beautiful practice of like team dynamic, as well as learning a bunch of dance lifts or handstands on people's hands, or, you know, I've tried to take more of a ninja approach to a little bit, making it a little bit more extreme. I like to handstands on people's heads, for example, or adding a little bit of calisthenic flair to it. Right. But there's two elements to acro yoga. There's the therapeutic side, and then there's the acrobatic side. So that's also, it can totally be just a stretch. So imagine being able to like hang from your feet, or would be on someone's hips, and the hips would be just hanging down low, and then your hands would be on their elbows, and you'd be able to hang suspended, and you could actually get like a floating or inverted massage or stretch, which is pretty incredible as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful practice. Yeah, and so your guys' performance, you guys have weights. You're throwing weights back and forth, like huge barbells with weights, throwing them on top. You're also standing on top of each other's shoulders while you're doing it. So weights are crossing. Yeah. At one point, aren't you standing all like three of you on top of each other? We do that. Yeah. We do which is called a 3-high. We do a version called the column, which means that there's two people on bottom. Andreas and Nathan are on bottom. Then the second level would be James, and then I'll be on the third level. And then I would either stand on James's head or handstand on his hands, or all the above, and do some cool tricks. We even, on the Ellen show, had a crazy idea of passing a barbell all the way up to the 3-high, and then I would shoulder press a barbell on top, which was like, I definitely had never seen that before, which is kind of crazy. So you're 15 feet in the air on the Ellen show. When you finally get the barbell all the way up there and press it, I mean, your nipples are already like out of frame, right? Yo, like you're super high. Like, what did they do? Just like, maybe you can add a link to the video on this, because it was pretty crazy. Because with the Ellen show, we didn't really have a rehearsal. Like we were surprising Ellen live, which was pretty cool. But we had this one rehearsal, and that's it. And then it was go time, but we had shifted where we were going to perform as Ellen was going. And so where we actually built the column, I was so tall that actually my shoulders were at the lights of the camera. So I actually, the lights of the studio, my head was above the lights, like at that point. You do the press? So I had to like press and had to like move it around, like otherwise I would have hit one of the lights. So I was like all the way up there. So can you see this in the video? They like pan the camera up, and you're like in the rafters. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh, it's so funny, man. I'm just imagining. I can't wait to see that. I haven't seen that clip yet, but that was a life-changing moment. That was pretty cool. So going back to your boy band, right? Yeah. Lead singer. Don't hate me for this. I would say Andreas for lead singer. Cool. Right? He's kind of got like that bad boy spotlight energy, right? Yeah. You strike me as a I don't know. James is maybe the drummer. Okay. Actually, I take that back. He's not really on time. He's the not on time one. Is that correct? He's very timely. Oh, he's very timely. Okay, cool. So he's definitely the drummer. Bass player. I feel like you're more of a bass player. You're more of like a vibe.
Cool.
Like a jam vibe. And then I guess Nathan would be the guitar player then.
Cool. I like that.
Any of those you disagree with?
No, I think that's great. I think we all kind of float and do something unique, which is really powerful. One of the backstories being, I did help kind of put the team together. It was kind of like originally it was going to be Acro James and our buddy Modern Tarzan, and it kind of backed out. Tarzan was going through an injury and some other stuff, and it just didn't work out. So I really wanted to do a group of 3, and so we were gonna basically audition Andreas or Nathan, and then James and I were like, well, let's just have both. And so big shout out to James. He's an incredible coach as well. And James really worked with Andreas as a flyer, and I worked with Nathan as a bass. And we just had a kind of crash course of like creating something within acrobatics. Shout out to both of them, though. They're both really, really talented gymnasts. So they can pick up anything super quick. And Nathan's an incredible hand balancer. Tumbler. Andreas is, an amazing stuntman, can just kind of do amazing fight choreo to flips and swings and rides and all that kind of stuff. So it was really cool. It was really great. Cool. Yeah.
But before we close out this boy band moment, I'm just kind of curious. Is there a particular genre that you guys would play? What would be your genre? Like, is it like NSYNC?
NSYNC.
Or is it like...
That would be pretty cool to be like an actual boy band, like... Backstreet Boys are the sphere right now, so like maybe we'll do like a reunion tour one day. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, for the fun of it, I don't know. We'll maybe we were like a rock band, like,
rock band.
Yeah.
Like hard rock, like
classic
Metallica,
rock.
classic
Yeah.
rock. Like dad rock.
Yeah, dad rock.
Dad rock.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, to be honest, I think like if we all had to agree on some sort of genre, I think we mostly listen to like dance music, So I think, but it'd be kind of hard for all 4 of us to be DJs. But maybe we'd be like Swedish House Mafia. We're all kind of just like a group. Like I'll switch
you just
up.
pass the DJ deck up from one person to the next person.
Yeah.
Of your vibe. Well, Travis, I'm curious for you. If movement is your message, what do you want people to feel? What are you trying to communicate with people when they watch you perform?
Great question. I would say I'm really passionate about people finding positive inspiration through movement. And when they watch us, one of the messages that we want to share, which was not only shared on America's Got Talent, but we had the opportunity to perform for TEDx Manhattan Beach, and it hasn't come out yet, but the message is that overcoming adversity is inherently something that's in the human spirit that can be translated in many different genres, but is something that all 4 of us overcame career-ending injuries. And so I know what it's like to have a doctor say, you'll never be able to play sports again. I'd blown out a knee. I'd lost all the nerves in my feet, wasn't able to wiggle my toes. And they're like, you'll never play sports again. It was really, depressing and debilitating for many years. And which shifted me to really not even doing sports for most of my 20s. And then actually having a rebirth and resurgence kind of at my Saturn return towards my 30s. And so grateful that I was able to do that. But Nathan had a back injury. Acro James had a neck injury, was in a neck brace. And Andreas also had a knee injury. And every doctor was like, you'll never be able to play sports again. And all 4 of us chose to not even get a second opinion, but just to work on our healing. And I think movement is a beautiful medicine.
You, where do you think that comes from? Is it like a place of resentment where you're like, fuck you, doctor, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know me? Or is it more like it'll be fine? Or is it like, were there people in your life that were telling you you're fine? Or were like your parents like, Travis, I know you climbed that roof when you were 15 months old, but like maybe this is like, what was the dynamic there when you started getting that feedback from the doctor?
Well, I tore my knee 3 times. And the first one was like, I'm definitely going to prove the doctor wrong. No one can tell me no. Like this was my dream. And so I proved him that I could come back stronger and faster. And at that point, I ended up tearing it a second time. And I was like, oh man, this is not that he knew what he was doing, but definitely like I should be more careful after coming back. And so after the 3rd time, I came back and took my rehab and my PT really seriously. And at that point, I got to a point, but it was a mindset of like, oh, I was really afraid that I would hurt myself again.
Is it same doctor?
Yeah, same doctor.
What did he say the third time?
The third time,
because the first time he's like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
Second time he's like, third time, what
third time
was that? What was the look on his face, man? You walk in the door to the doctor.
Kind of like this, I told you so. And so it was crazy. I, when I graduated college, I was working out after work. I actually went into real estate because at the time there was no CrossFit games, there was no Instagram, there was no content creators, making a living like Mr. Beast doing what he does. And I think if that was available right outside of college, I think that's what I would have pursued. But it wasn't really common at that time or available. And so it's so cool being in this time now to be in a content creator studio. Like shout out Lighthouse. Like,
shout out Lighthouse.
Is so cool. But like that was what a great time to be alive, and a great like modality and way to make a living. But at the time I felt like, if you want to be successful, it's a doctor or a lawyer or real estate or, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to go back to school to be a doctor or a lawyer, but I ended up going back and eventually getting my MBA and starting my own business. But
what was the business?
I started an apparel company.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and how that happened was I worked in real estate for most of my 20s, really wanting to, find wealth and success. And I think what everyone says you're supposed to get. And I got to a place where I was, successful for, I'd say, my age and at that time, and had what my needs met, but I wasn't fulfilled. And then
what was missing at that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the time, I would say like probably deeper partnership, also a deeper spiritual practice, and also even more something more soul fulfilling. Like I was getting the paycheck, and I was going out. Ironically, I was a nightclub promoter at one point in my life, and so going out and partying and doing that whole thing, and those were not fulfilling as well. And you just had to, I guess, find out, something you do when you're young, and
you're slanging houses, and then you're
yeah. And so I luckily the market crashed in like 2008, 2009, and I decided to go back to school. I got my MBA at Pepperdine, and I was really inspired by the guy who started Patagonia, and I was really inspired by the guy who started the company Life is Good, Bert.
What about both those?
Yeah, and I was inspired by a third brand called Tom's Shoes that Blake Mikowski started, and all three of those brands were something that was making, in my mind, like the world a better place. Right? Tom's with the 1-for-1, giving back to someone in need. Life is Good not only gives back, but also is kind of like a positive mantra, as well as Patagonia is making apparel and raising money for making the world better through the education and the fabrics that they use, etc. And so I was like, well, if I could take those modalities and kind of put it in a pot and make something in the movement space, in the apparel space. So positive impact movement being a mantra, Tom's doing the 1-for-1, but I was like, cool, I want to do that, but I want to one up it. I don't want to copycat. So I was like, I want to do 2-for-1 or 3-for-1. I was like, that'll definitely kill my margins. But what if I did like 3.14% pie? So that's what the positive impact stands for pie. And so I started Pie Movement. And so we made these ninja pants, kind of like what I'm wearing here. And there's just activewear that would give back to building more parks and playgrounds. I wanted to see more muscle beach parks or ninja parks around the world. And so that's how I got started. And I just was getting the clothes on people at Muscle Beach in Santa Monica. There's like 2 places in LA that really changed my life. Santa Monica, Original Muscle Beach being one of them. And then it being the outdoor fitness playground of the world, or at least of America. And then there's a place called Self-Realization Fellowship. It's a meditation garden started by Paramahansa Yogananda. And I found out about his teachings in this book, Autobiography of a Yogi, from the Steve Jobs, who, when he passed away, he actually knew he was dying, and he gave a book to everyone to read at his funeral. He gave him a copy of this book, and it was actually the first book on the iPad, I'm pretty sure.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So Steve Jobs gave everyone the autobiography of a yogi.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't at his funeral, but this is what I read. So,
but out of all the books, I mean, I mean, Steve Jobs, I mean, obviously he's created a huge success and like totally a visionary. Also totally seemed like he could have been an asshole. Yeah. And so the whole like yoga, like it seemed, at least from like the documentaries and the spoofs, it seems like he was like, we're doing it. He's like just kind of the hothead, fiery guy. And so maybe he needed to read it. Yeah. And he was like, fuck, I wish, but I didn't yet.
A fun fact is like he actually had like his own little sabbatical and like reading this book. And I think he spent time in India that really was like kind of like life-changing for him. And so that was really cool because as he's reflecting back on his life and had the opportunity to do that as he was passing away, and this book was instrumental in his life. So I read the book and found out that there is a meditation garden in LA in Palisades, right at Sunset and PCH.
Is this Lake Shrine or?
Yeah, it's Lake Shrine.
Yeah, Lake Shrine's great, man.
And so pretty much I did a study there. They have the lessons that you can study. So I did that while I was getting my MBA at Pepperdine and was really proud and just studying a different modality. And I would also spend my time at Muscle Beach and just learning how to just get better at moving my body at first and getting as strong as possible, then getting more mobile. And then it led into calisthenics, and then it led into acro yoga and just seeing adults playing and how the shift of, I think not only adults or just kids in general, like the art of play and how we can connect back into our soul or kind of connect back into strengthen our mind, body, and spirit through the power of play. But I've met some of my best friends, like lifelong dear friends, at this park. It's like literally some of my best friends I've met there, and it's almost like this like rite of passage, you know, like to go down there. It feels like a movement church. We go down there every Sunday, and we all have like our service, and we go kind of jam. And I really take the opportunity to be more present with maybe a new person there, and how I can collaborate or spend time with people who, when I was the new person on the block there were a lot of people taught me how to do what I'm doing now, and so just kind of pay it forward. And yeah.
What has that taught you about human interaction or even the meaning of life?
Oh, yeah. Great question.
Right. Just being down there, right? You know? Because that wasn't always like, you didn't grow up there.
No.
You know what I mean? So that came in your life at what point? Like how old were you and where were you? What stage of life were you in? What season were you in when you first experienced that Muscle Beach?
Yeah. I was looking back on this. I think the first time I came down there was like 2010. And really, I just didn't start going there until around 2011, 2012, like more regularly. And that would have put me right around 29, 30 years old. And it was just so cool because like no matter what age you were at, like there's just people out there swinging on rings, playing, climbing ropes. And at the time was right around Instagram was becoming more popular. They were doing, and I remember specifically when Instagram was just photos and then switched to like videos, and people started recording calisthenic workouts and doing handstands and doing flips. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is kind of all I want to be doing. And at the time in starting apparel company, I was like, well, if I save money, I could save money by getting in the best shape of my life, so then I could just model the clothes as opposed to having to hire models all the time. And then, so I was like just trying to get more skilled so that I could help save money for the company basically and get this thing started. And I had this amazing divine experience where this guy, PJ, was just biking down Muscle Beach one day and saw me just kind of doing what I was doing. And he was like, hey, I'm a photographer. Do you mind if I shoot you? And I'm like, yeah, no worries. And he was a photographer who was looking to build a portfolio, and I was an athlete looking to design some clothes. And so it's this perfect synergy. And he was this amazing like partnership that happened for many years where he's my go-to guy. And we just created some really beautiful stuff, which led to eventually working with other photographers and videographers. And yeah, the art of collaboration, the art of creating is something that I think is so powerful. The art of play, or also the opportunity to just relax or strengthen or find balance, I think would be like, if you had to pick a direction, the power of balance of like play brings in balance in a lot of ways, because it can be great strength training. It also can be like really relaxing. It also can be a stretch. It can kind of be a place to recenter yourself. So I think that that's what's really powerful about Muscle Beach in general, Santa Monica Muscle Beach.
When you reflect back on this company and PJ, do you feel like the company grew to what it grew to because of PJ? Like, was PJ a big influence in it? Or was someone like PJ going to eventually come into the ether of your life? Meaning, like, was he a partial reason why it became so successful? And do you think about that as if like, well, what happened if I didn't meet PJ at that one point? Like, would it have taken longer? Would it have gone a totally different direction?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, if it could have gone a different direction at that point in time, where could it have gone?
That's a great question. Yeah, PJ was super important and super powerful in that he captured a moment in time, which was really powerful. And he was really instrumental. There was two different business partners that I worked with, I'd say were super instrumental. There's a guy named Andrew Tang and Peyton Wallace, who both really believed in me and the power of kind of co-creating something really special. There's another guy who was really important as well, Kyle Applegate. And yeah, there's some really important people that were in that, and PJ was definitely a part of that. I think it would be very different without it. And it's for example, like the analogy being, you can't really, it's pretty hard to like capture a moment, like have a photographer shoot a portrait, for example, right? You really need to have a portrait. You need to be able to shoot someone, and you also need to have someone behind the camera doing the magic, right? Of course, you can take a selfie on your iPhone, but it's not going to be like the same level of quality that you would get from like an artist working behind the camera. And he was just a true artist. And I think that was really powerful. It was really cool at the time. Shout out Dominica, who helped design the first Ninja Pant. And then I had the opportunity to debut it on America's Got Talent. I'm sorry, on American Ninja Warrior. And so wearing this outfit on Ninja Warrior, and then people were like, oh, where can I get those pants? And I was like, well, we could make more of them, and we can sell the Ninja Pant online, and we can create a business around the ninja community. It was just, again, special timing, like right place, right time, divine timing, if you will. And a lot of the first ninjas who, when we were on the show, it was originally on G4. It was this kind of obscure little show. I never knew that it would become popular. I didn't do the show to be on primetime television. I did it because it looked fun. And I was really grateful to have done well the first time, and they invited me back. And the second time they invited me back, I did pretty well again. And at that time, they're like, oh, by the way, it's going to be on NBC. And so it was like, it was really cool just to kind of be at this experience that was just life-changing in general. And it was really great. It allowed me the opportunity to be at Muscle Beach and just be a ninja, you know, and this new up and coming thing. And I would climb and handstand, and this like new lease on life of like, oh, wow, this is what I get to do for my life, you know, and I get to make ninja pants and be a ninja and be an acrobat. And my job is to be as playful and strong and mobile and overcome obstacles. And I was like, wow. And it was really cool. There was like a really cool story. There was like, man, I was doing this for a couple of years, and someone came up to me. They're like, hey, there's this one guy who kind of does crazy stuff just like you. And his name is Tarzan. You got to meet modern Tarzan. He lives in a van in Santa Barbara. And I'm like, wow, this sounds like a fairy tale. I gotta meet this guy. And they're like, well, you're in luck. He's going to come down to Muscle Beach in Santa Monica in like 2 weeks for his birthday. And he's bringing a trampoline on top of his van out to Muscle Beach. And I'm like, this is crazy. All right, I can't wait. I'll show up. And truth be told, the guy came out with his Westphalia van and a trampoline, and we set it up, and we did a trampoline on the beach, and he did some crazy flips. He was a parkour athlete. I remember he climbed the rope, I climbed the rope, and then it wasn't until I was like, we were running to the beach, and there was this beam that like basically that holds up one of the, like the power lines that goes to the lifeguard tower. And he's like, dude, I bet I could climb up this wooden beam and do a human flag off of it. And I'm like, no way. I mean, like, I could do that, but I don't know anyone else who could do that. And I don't think they would really do it first try. And he climbed up and did this like human flag on this, basically this like light post. And I was like, wow, okay, this guy is like crazy talented and crazy fun. And this could be like a really cool partnership.
You're like, that's my bestie,
yeah,
dude.
that's my bestie. And so I was like, dude, you should move down to LA. I can help you. I got an agent and I can get you on the TV show and you can,
no way.
And, you know, we can make cool videos. And he was like, I never forget this. He's like, well, why should I trust you? And I was like,
why should I trust you? Interesting.
Like, whoa. And I was like, I don't know. Because I think it'd be fun, you know? Like
you're like,
yeah, I was
this
like,
guy, he's like comes to LA once and he's like,
yeah.
hey man, I got an agent for you.
Yeah, totally. It's like,
he's like, I heard about this. I heard about this on TV.
Yeah, totally. He's like, I don't trust those LA people. I was like, yeah, I understand that. And so I was like, well, I don't know. Just give me a shot. And if you don't like it, like you're in your camper van, you can always leave. You know, I'm not making you like sign a lease or anything like that. And I almost got him, but it wasn't until there was a girl in the mix, our friend Eve, who they met at Burning Man and really had a beautiful connection, and that was the kind of the tipping point that got him down to LA. So I definitely didn't take the credit, but he stayed afterwards, and we became like really good buddies. We performed together, and I owe him a lot of love and gratitude because he was the first one to not only kind of like, we had our own style of acro yoga that hadn't really been seen before. It's like much more kind of like play-based and acrobatic and parkour-esque. And it was ninja-esque. We added the ninja flair and parkour flair and calisthenic flair to acro yoga, which had been mostly kind of maybe more
like therapeutic.
Right? Yeah. So
right.
It was cool. It was a beautiful part of it. Beautiful time in life.
Wow. Can you tell me, I want to hear about this injury again. And I'm kind of curious specifically how you felt at your lowest point and maybe how that changed your perspective on life moving forward.
Yeah, the injury itself was really tough in the sense that, you know, it really shaped my life in the sense that I felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I felt like my calling or purpose was something in fitness, or at the time there wasn't even a wellness space really, you know, so outside maybe being a yoga teacher. And so I felt like maybe my life was a little bit more limited, or especially being told no or you can't, which was really tough.
Who was telling you that?
At the time, the doctor, and then myself, actually, like, oh, I'll never be able to come back. I actually remember specifically, I had been babying my knee so much that I would only wear a knee brace to do like even run or any kind of jumps. And I remember when I was like 29, I was like, man, you know what? I really just need to like, I'll probably tear my knee again because I've already done it a few times, but I'm going to take my knee brace off and I'm just going to start doing what I would normally do. I'm going to start doing the swings, the jumps, and the run in the sand, and, starting small and working my way up, but, jumping off of, just the ramp at the lifeguard tower, and then maybe the hand railing. And if I can work my way up, maybe eventually the roof, but just starting to just go all in and stop living in fear. And if I tear my knee, then I'll have that surgery again, and then I'll start fresh. And I remember once it was the mindset of, you know what, I can't wait for a brace to run my life, right? Like, I'm going to take the brace off and I'm just going to train. I'm going to actually work on balance, and balance being I'm working on isometric different movements where I'm actually balancing on one foot, or I'm actually literally standing on people where I'm finding that balance point, where I'm actually standing on a pull-up bar, or I'm standing on a beam, where like I need to work on strengthening my smaller balance muscles. And then that actually allowed me to really find the strength that I needed to do what I'm doing. And parkour and those different types of movement where you're like running and jumping, and like I think where you actually stop thinking less and you just start moving. You're trying to move from one place to the other as efficiently as possible, right? So, and just being in that environment totally shifted, I think, the way that I started moving and the way that I started seeing the world. And I've never really been able to, I've never really hurt my knee since. I've taken some crazy jumps, some crazy drops. I've hurt an ankle a few times, but never a knee. It's been really beautiful. Yeah.
Let's fast forward 10 years. Mm-hmm. Let's just assume you have this injury again.
Yeah.
But we're at a place where the doctor says, listen, Travis, we can totally replace your leg with a cyborg robot leg. It's going to be a little bit stronger. It won't break.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the type of shit where you can't even see it. It's not like a whole ass piece of metal.
Yeah.
But it's like in your knee. They're like, we'll fix it and it'll be better. My question to you is that okay if you're like performing? Meaning what happened if you like that knee so much that you say, hey doc, let's do the other knee. I like that I can jump a little higher. I like that I can run a little faster. I like that my knee's kind of indestructible and replaceable. And we just put in a new piece here, new piece there. Is that something you'd consider?
Man, well, I will tell a story. I have a dear friend named CR who lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. And originally it was below the knee amputation. And after many surgeries, he ended up losing his knee, and he's above knee amputee now. And he lived at my house between a lot of the surgeries before he lost his knee. So I spent a lot of time with someone who has been through this kind of process. And he really, in this life-changing process, it was so inspired because he was like, look, I'm not going to let it get me down. I can't change the past, but what I can change is and control is my mindset. And what I really want to be is the best amputee acrobat, if that's, where this is going to end up. And it's crazy. He ended up during the pandemic moving to Vegas, getting a house in Vegas and studying and training in trapeze. And that's actually this huge, beautiful story, because when he did that is when the team, Positive Impact Movement, first got started. And we actually moved to Vegas and lived in his house while he was kind of getting his whole new life started. And so we all kind of had this new circus life that started together. And to see how his life has evolved and I would say maybe improved. I'd say it's definitely changed, but I wouldn't say he's any less happy. If anything, I would definitely bet money that he's happier now than he was before. And it's just a lot of like his perspective to still be alive and his perspective of just having a different chapter of life. And, instead of like, he has a anniversary of being alive day, as opposed to, anything else. That's his outlook on life now. And it's really powerful. So I wouldn't be afraid to get a cyborg leg and just be like my brother CR. No.
Would he be stoked? I mean, when I mentioned this like cyborg leg, by the way, we're imagining it's like full human functionality plus some. So,
cool.
So less of like amputee, but like,
Oh yeah.
Do you think like how might an experience like that, like he gets in a motorcycle accident, he crashes, in today's world, a miserable experience overall, like having to go with that, and then like it's below the knee, then above the knee, and all this like fear and doubt, like your knee injury, but like you don't even have a knee, I'm kind of curious, like, was that a good thing, for him and his life and his perspective, how it shaped him as a person, and if it's a net benefit or a net negative, if he could have just been like, oh yeah, we'll just get a new leg. I'm kind of curious to explore that with you. Are you open to that?
Yeah, I'm open to it. I would say,
is it a good thing? Like if any major injury we had, we could just like, it's just fixed.
Yeah. I guess to answer that thought pattern, I would say that there is something really special of like the hero's journey, right? Where you actually, the hero's journey being like you like Superman, Batman, they're having this epic experience and then they get defeated, or they lose the battle but not the war, where they have to come back and they have to train, come back stronger, and then come back and win and beat the villain. I think that the human experience is a lot of heroes' journeys often. I think everyone in life, even the people who have quote unquote the best lives or the easiest lives, I think that they still have setbacks, right? And I think the quicker that we can learn from our setbacks are, there's a beautiful quote that my girlfriend Mish has, that one must imagine Sisyphus is happy, and basically mean the guy Sisyphus who pushes the rock up the wall, never ending up in, doomed to hell to push up the rock. But if you can find joy in the mundane, or you can find joy in the pain of life, I feel that that's really one of the best lessons to learn in the human experience that we have. Through different ceremonies and experiences I've had, that was my first question after my first ayahuasca ceremony, was like, well, why are we here? And like, what is the human experience all about? And the download and the vision that I really got was that to really enjoy all keys of the piano. And when you are in, whatever you want to call it, your bliss world or your heaven or your final joy space, that's all you can experience, right? If that's heaven for you. But if that's all you can experience, then you can't experience anything else. You can't experience darkness, you can't experience sadness. And so if we can appreciate and have gratitude for all the keys of the piano, then I think that that's one of the greatest takeaways to have for the human experience.
Even the broken keys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you have a strong opinion? I want to go back into this because I just think it's interesting, and I'm curious because you have this epic story around adversity and so many other people that have had different struggles, but then also had the mind space to and mindset to push through it and come out even stronger on the other side, if not physically, mentally. Mm-hmm. Is it a good thing if we could just eliminate all suffering like this? Is it back to the robots thing?
Yeah.
You get hit in a motorcycle accident, you lose your legs. Mm-hmm. You can sign on the dotted line and now you have new legs. Is that a good thing?
I don't think so. I actually really think the human experience is meant to experience.
Meant to be finite, maybe?
Yeah.
Or meant to be. Yeah, because then it gets weird if we fast forward. Mm-hmm. And then it's what happens if you get in a really bad car accident?
Yeah.
And you lose both your arms and both your legs?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At what point of cyborg would you determine somebody's not human anymore, Travis?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with AI and how this world is evolving, and what, as we're merging consciousness, and our thoughts, and what's available and what will be coming in the future. These are real questions.
I mean, we're young, bro.
Yeah,
What's going to happen in 50 years?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
So let's fast forward. Is that how would you define somebody as not human? At what percentage or what part of robot is somebody now not human?
In terms of
physical
body parts?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I never really thought about that.
So just the head? If you still have your head, are you still human?
Yeah, I would say if you have your head and your heart,
Okay. What if your heart fails and you have
I think that's where it goes. Yeah.
That's where it goes.
Yeah, I think it's the heart. Yeah, head and heart. I'm going to leave it at that.
What about people living forever? Because imagine if you could download your consciousness.
Yeah.
And if you could replace all your body parts as they break. Is that a good thing?
I guess that, would you say that you believe in reincarnation?
Interesting one. I'm undecided.
Undecided, yeah. The thought of reincarnation is interesting, but people are reborn and have past lives, but it's not like they're continuing on in the same body, right? And I believe to a degree that we've had past experiences. There's a lot of people who remember their past lives. Like Matthias De Stefano is really fascinating and can remember past lives. So I believe that there is some way that our soul has experienced different experiences within different human bodies, right? And so if the question is, would I want to be able to remember all my past lives, or is it like I would keep this human body?
You'd keep this human body and you'd keep this avatar.
Yeah.
Maybe even if it's 95% robot at some point in the future.
No, I'd rather just go out when I'm supposed to go out personally. It's so funny. I think
at what point though? You know what I mean? Because like you get in a crazy motorcycle accident, you replace all your limbs. Like, is that cool? But then if your heart goes, you're just like, you're done.
I don't know.
Like, where's the threshold, I think, for you, you know? Because that becomes an interesting one with the mortality.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot, there's this don't die or, want to live to 150 or plus campaign. And I'm not like a huge, I can't say I'm overly excited to like live as long as possible. It's like, I'm more of like a believer in faith, and when I'm supposed to go out, I'm supposed to go out. Like, I don't think that I would, how to say this, like, not that I wouldn't try to take care of my body or try to, if I could, freeze my, freeze myself so that I could like come back later in life. I don't think that I would do that. I'm pretty happy with just, I think, my spirit guides and God has a plan for me, and I live as long as I was supposed to live, and that's it. I don't really want to mess with it personally.
Well, it's an interesting one though.
Yeah.
I mean, you've taken some supplements in the past.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So you're like trying to preserve your body, make it as healthy as it can be for as long as it can be.
Yeah.
But what if the option's to live to 200? You see what I'm saying? Like, does that?
Yeah. I'm not super excited about it.
For somebody that is super excited about it, what do you think they would say? Why are they infatuated with the idea? Why are they infatuated with the idea of don't die?
Honestly, I don't know if those many people have been in like a ceremony where they've like had an ego death or a ceremonial death where they like can start to see or peek in on what's the other side of life personally. And I feel that I've, quote unquote died through different ceremonies and through plant medicine. And I think it's really beautiful to be on the other side as well. I'm not that I'm like want to be there tomorrow or going to take my life by any means, but I think, the spirit realm, if that's what we're going to call it, is really beautiful. So yeah, the human experience is really beautiful as well. But at what point, if I see these people and, that live past 100 and they're, even my grandmother who was 98, and I have another grandmother who's 97. But when my grandmother turned 98, she was like so ready to go. She had lost her vision and a lot of the ability to walk, and it was really beautiful. She was in a beautiful space. She's like, I got to a point where like, and it's cool. I think when your mind makes up that statement where like, hey, I'm ready to go, it's crazy how fast that body deteriorates versus like the fear of like not wanting to die and you hold on. People stay alive barely for a long time, and it's not necessarily maybe enjoyable though. Like I guess if I'm not enjoying life, like, and able to do a majority of the things that I want to do, that I don't know if I'm really enjoying the human experience. So.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. It's interesting. It's going to be an interesting time. I think you're right. A lot of people are holding on to the idea of like, well, I don't want this to end.
Yeah.
I don't know how I think about it yet. I'm excited. I'm ambitious. I'm like, got a lot of things I want to do. If I was nearing the end of my life, I'd be generally pretty bummed, generally pretty bummed. And so I want to do whatever I can to like take care of my body, take care of my mind. And like, but I think what you're highlighting is the importance of just like mindset. And like we have a physical body, but we also have a spiritual body. And our physical body has a lifespan. Yeah. Undeniably. and that there's like some importance to exploring our spiritual presence.
Absolutely.
What have you found to be effective ways for you to scratch that itch or find more spiritual clarity or awakening?
There's such a beautiful opportunity. There's so many different spiritual leaders and texts, books out there that are really powerful and tell incredible stories, and the opportunity to just listen and be a part of different. Like, for example, like one of the groups that I've been really enjoying lately is getting to learn a little bit more about the Kabbalah and understanding this ancient wisdom and text and how this was there before, a lot of the other major religions were around. And so a lot of them come from a similar ethos, at least in the sense of how to, maybe law of karma, for example, like how you do unto others as you want done unto you. So it's like kind of treating others with respect and treating others how you'd want to be treated. I think like the law of like how you respect yourself and you respect others is super important. And then you can see that in every religion. And also your connection to your spirit. I think connecting to whether it is God or whether it's creator or whatever you want to call it, but connecting to that source energy that lives in each person. And I think honoring that is super important.
Thank you, Travis. I like talking about these things with you specifically because I know you're quite a spiritual guy. Thanks. And you got a good heart and you're a funny guy as well. So you can like bring some lightness to it, which I really appreciate. Yeah. I'm curious about the people you've admired in the past. What's the biggest difference, or just maybe a difference, of the people you admired when you were 20 versus the people you admire now when you're 40? Yeah,
great question. This question and experience really shaped my life. I had a mentor in real estate, a guy named Tony, who was an executive for one of the bigger companies, and he had a yacht in Newport. And I remember he invited me on his boat, and we went to Catalina for this like stag weekend, kind of like a Catalina wine mixer, if you will.
Right.
And I remember I went on his boat and we went on this experience, and I was like, wow. I got to meet all of his friends and all the members of the yacht club and these guys who were in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And I just looked at them and I just remember being like, wow, I don't know if this is what I want to be, later in life,
But was it something that you were curious about, like the excitement of it? You're like, oh my God, these guys. And then your
I was super
perspective changed.
Yeah, I was super grateful to be invited. But it was like, these guys were drinking and partying like they were in a fraternity still, and they were in their 50s and 60s, and it was just granted that was it was a boys trip and that's what you do, but at the same time I just remember being like, man, it's kind of the same people doing the same thing for like the last 30 years, and there wasn't like a real focus on wellness, spirituality. I would say most of them were not in great shape, and I just remember I was like, wow, I don't know if this is the life that I would want to live. It felt a little bit more materialistic, very money driven. And I didn't find a lot of motivation from that. I remember thinking about, I was like, wow, like going back to Muscle Beach and going back to the temple that I was studying at, and now more of this simple life that was connected more to nature and connected more to like movement and wellness was like something that I really was like, not only excited about, but the opportunity to be my own boss or create my own thing, as opposed to be a part of this country club and be a part of this yacht club. And I just remember that was life-changing for me. I was like, it was just hard to explain more than it was just a feeling. I was like, I just don't feel like this is where I want to be.
And was that something that you kind of aspired to or admired recently before then?
Totally.
And was that kind of like a tipping point for you, or like a perspective paradigm shift kind of?
Yeah, that was he was kind of a mentor in the space. I wanted to be like him. I was connected to him through my dad's good friend, one of the neighbors in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And I was really inspired by him. He was really inspiring. He was this, very well-to-do executive and family man, and just a cool guy. Like I was like, man, I want to be like that when I grow up. And then, he's like, I'll connect you with the vice president over in California. And so I met him, and I wanted to be like him when I grew up. And then I was like, I just don't know if that's
what did like him mean for you
exactly.
back then?
Like,
what was it? Just the money was shiny and exciting? Was it the status? Like, what was it?
It was the status. It was the money. It was he had a Maserati, and he was a part of the California Club and a part of the Newport Yacht Club, and was making all these great deals and flying private. And I was like, wow, like this is all I want, And then when I got to be closer to that experience, it didn't feel like, I don't know, home for me and my soul. So
interesting. And what do you admire now? Like, what are some traits, or could be specific people, but I'd love to learn more just about like the general types of things you admire, the general types of people you admire.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? How do they treat others?
Yeah. I'd say I admire artists, people who are passionate about creating what their soul or maybe their purpose in life is. I'm really inspired by people who have a respect for nature, people who have a respect for community in general, like thinking outside of just themselves, but really putting time and energy into building community, like yourself, for example, like having such an amazing, skate club and going around and doing what you do and having the bus and representing and helping out with Awakened Warrior. Like, a lot of respect for you and others that are putting others, not necessarily others first, but having consideration for others. And I have a lot of consideration and love for people that are in the healing arts in general, people that are helping not only heal themselves, heal others, but be a safe space for humans to have all their feelings and emotions.
Why do you have respect for those people?
It takes a lot of energy, I would say, to do that. But I'd say no human was dealt with like a perfect deck of cards, right? Adversity and tragedy can look like different cards for every person, right? But that doesn't mean it's not painful or terrible at some point for those people. But we all have an opportunity to work on ourselves, to get to know ourselves better, or how to like regulate our nervous systems, how to be more self-improved or self-aware, and so that you can continue to be like, maybe just to be a better version of yourself, right? And I have a lot of respect for people who continue to just work on themselves in general. And like, I don't think anyone's perfect, but people that are living with kindness as their religion is something I look forward to meeting and spending time with those people. Yeah.
Is there any one person in particular that you're super stoked on and admire right now?
It's been really cool. I'll tell a few stories, but like I was really inspired, like I said, Patagonia, Tom's Shoes, and Life is Good. And I was like, man, if I could be like them, or would you look at that? That was my gratitude alarm that just went off. I have a daily gratitude alarm that goes off at 3:14.
Perfect.
Which is pi being 3.14. And so I was like, well, I think gratitude is like a beautiful North Star that I think all humans can subscribe to. And so I encourage anyone that's listening or watching to pick a time that's most relevant for them. It could be their birthday, it could be 11/11, whatever feels good for you, but set a daily alarm and have gratitude in whatever you're doing. You could be sitting in traffic, or you could be on this epic podcast right now.
So what does that look like for you? So that alarm goes off, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And then what do you do immediately after?
Yeah, totally. So I take a moment in time to just say what I'm grateful for in this moment. And if I'm around anybody, ask them what they're grateful for as well. And if any dream that they might have, then maybe there's a way that I could help make that dream come true, or point them in point them in a direction of helping that dream come true. So
we got to do it, dude.
Yeah, let's do it. So I would say that I'm really grateful to be on this podcast. I'm really grateful to be at Lighthouse, and I'm really grateful to be friends with you for a number of years, and just the way that you show up. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
For me, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you really a lot. It feels kind of tacky to say we're both grateful for each other, but no, really, you and your team and the experiences you guys have all brought me into have really opened my eyes to this lifestyle, leading with kindness, leading with play, especially. And so I'm infinitely inspired by you and the way that you live so gracefully.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And what's one dream that you want to see come true that hasn't been done yet? A bucket list, if you will.
Ooh, okay. Just one of them.
Yeah.
I would love to get air on a vert ramp. Skateboarding.
I saw you drop in on that one.
I dropped in. I was at Camp Woodward. I spent the whole week.
How tall was that one?
It's 14 feet. You used to do I've done some vert half pipe.
Yeah, I built a 8-foot half pipe in my backyard back in the day. Yeah.
Skateboard or?
I was rollerblading.
Rollerblades. How often did you get called a fruit booter?
Not that much back in the day. I did it when I was really young, mostly middle school and a little bit of high school. But
and so okay, I'm 30.
Yeah.
You're 40?
Yeah.
Right.
43. Yeah.
Okay. So for 30-year-old me, rollerblading was already lame by the time I was in middle school.
Yeah.
It was cool when you were in middle school, high school?
This random blip of time that rollerblading was just coming on the scene. It was kind of cool. And
where did you even
I grew up in Houston, Texas. And
yeah, but where did you see it? Because now there's social media and all these things, right?
Yeah.
I feel like back when maybe you were a kid, things were a little bit more curated in the sense that everyone knew Michael Jackson, everyone knew Michael Jordan because they were the people on TV.
Yeah.
And so it seems that rollerblading must have had a moment, a mainstream moment. Yeah. Was there anything in particular? Was it in movies or was it in magazines or what was it?
There were a few movies that came out around that time, and also there was a skate shop in my neighborhood called Sun and Ski Sports, and they had all the skateboards and the bikes and then they debuted the new rollerblade. It was the new cool thing, and I was and me and my buddies were oh, let's get into rollerblading, and I was sure, let's give it a shot. And it was that, and also we played a lot of inline hockey, and so we were kind of into that. And yeah,
so you went from hockey, and then how did you convince your parents that you're going to build this giant 8-foot ramp in your backyard, dude?
My neighbor was let's do it, and we're sure. It was basically just kind of we're gonna do this. We got to see it. We saw skate videos were kind of cool back in the day, kind of watching before Tony Hawk, there was some other rollerbladers that were coming out, and so I just watched a couple of videos back in the day. I was oh, this is cool. I want to get into it. So
no way.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your experience rollerblading? So you mentioned wanting to be an athlete from an early age, and if you weren't going to be a pro athlete, you'd be at least performing halftime shows.
Yeah.
Was rollerblading the thing that you were most stoked on at the time, or were there other sports?
I wouldn't say I was super. I was, for the moment in time, I think in middle school, it was kind of an alternative thing. Right. Your first before you have a car, for example, right. You can kind of start skating away from the house, if you will. So we had rollerblades and roller skates, and we got into inline hockey, and then we got into aggressive skating. And so I'd skate downstairs and try to grind rails and just be a little, hoodlum. And so I remember building up a little quarter pipe and stuff. And it was my first time of getting to use my gymnastics skills into into something on wheels, right? And so it just kind of translated a little bit more. I did water skiing as a kid, and then I skied before getting into snowboarding, and so it was just kind of something on both feet, kind of was just a little bit more comfortable for me than the board sports. Yeah.
Epic. Are you open to playing a little game with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. It's called Overrated, Underrated.
Okay.
Does it make sense to you if I just say a word and then you tell me overrated, underrated? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yoga.
Underrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acro yoga.
I'd say underrated still.
Primal movement,
Underrated.
psychedelics,
Underrated. Yeah.
boofing.
Oh man, I don't know how to answer that one.
But you have to.
Yeah, I'll go overrated. I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. Don't have need more test.
More testing.
More
Okay,
testing.
okay.
Yeah, to give you an answer. Yeah.
Saying I love you.
Oh, saying I love you is the best. Yeah, I love you. Underrated. For sure.
Underrated. Shoes.
Caveat: barefoot shoes. Wide toe box shoes are important. If they're just normal shoes, they're overrated. Underrated if you actually like protect you, then you can still run around barefoot. Like the barefoot skate shoes you got me.
Splay, yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. Handstands.
Ooh, underrated. I think it's a beautiful form of life.
I mean, a guy like you have to say that at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Protein powder.
Underrated. Yeah.
Texas.
I'm gonna go underrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, you gotta do it. Texas
What if you do 5 to me?
Okay. California.
Underrated.
Primal.
Underrated.
Okay. Yeah. Burning Man.
Wow, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Underrated.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Burning Man, it's like a lot of people have perception about it. I think it's underrated for the general public.
Yeah.
Meaning it's an experience that I think that most people would benefit from having.
Yeah.
Overrated for like the bougie people, what do they call them? Sparkle ponies?
Yeah.
Yeah, so overrated for sparkle ponies. Okay.
Right. Man. Camp Woodward.
Underrated, dude.
Man,
underrated. Way cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Man, I want to go so bad.
I've never been to summer camp, dude.
Oh, wow.
Ever. So, I mean, this to me was like magical. They had like a whole music room, people like jamming out. There's like a pool.
Wow.
There was like there's a bowling alley. It was like,
cool.
And it was just a vibe. I don't know if like most camps are like that. Well, in addition to like 10 different epic giant skate parks and anything you could possibly want to do. Big trampoline, parkour gym. It's like, dude.
Wow.
It was like everything. And it was so cheap too. It was like $750 for a week, dude. Like all included. I was like, pff.
Bring me next time.
Yeah, underrated as fuck for sure.
Wow.
All right, one more.
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse, underrated.
Okay. For
sure.
Cool.
Ask me in a year.
All right. Yeah.
But I think underrated. I mean, it's so cool to have a space that makes creation so easy. Yeah. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that I've gotten from being in this space is just that like there are so many inspiring people here that I get to just like rub shoulders with and have small, intimate, meaningful conversations. I had this experience with a friend yesterday where they came in and one of their friends was here. And I was like, oh my God, so good to see you, blah, 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 blah. They're chatting for a sec. We got to catch up. And both of them were like, oh, next week? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not next week. In 2 weeks. Well, beginning of September is hard for me. What about mid? No, we'll do. And it was like, okay, well, we'll probably catch up in end of September.
Yeah.
But like, that's how it normally goes. If you're doing your own life and you have to totally schedule something to come together. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's like, if my buddy Aaron was a member here at Lighthouse and was literally going to see that person the next 5 days in a row, they would end up having some sort of catch up or some sort of like lunch or coffee or something anyways. And so I think that like, for me, it's really helped accelerate a lot of the relationships I want to have and even just like accelerate interesting conversations with interesting people. Mm-hmm. So underrated.
Nice.
Having a space like this.
Yeah. This place is really special. That's cool.
And then Travis, to close things out here, mm-hmm. I would love to learn a little bit more about the next version of Travis Brewer that we haven't met yet.
Yeah. Great question. Great way to wrap it up. I'll give you two parts. One that I'm currently working on, and I could say the next version that I'm incubating, if you will. The new project that I've signed on for is called Primal. There's a gym in Ibiza founded by, I like to call a cosmic cousin, Nick Brewer. We have the same last name. And he started this practice he started creating after getting into a yoga practice and finding that even after doing a lot of yoga, getting more flexible doesn't necessarily make you more mobile or stronger. And so he created this amazing practice over the years, and people were kind of tagging me in this guy's Instagram. And so when I was on tour with Positive Impact Movement in 2021, I was like, hey, we're in Europe. We just did a show in Italy. Let's stop in Ibiza and see this guy. And I was really inspired by his practice and what he's kind of creating. And then he had a student and friend named Gus who had been training for the last 3-4 years, and they decided to raise money and they want to expand this practice to the world. And it was this serendipitous opportunity where they're like, well, you've done not only your acrobatic yoga, but you've also done your acrobatic weightlifting, and you've done your ninja, and you've done your own style. We would love to, what if we work together to build this community space in this gym? And it's here in Venice area. And so we've partnered up and we're building a social wellness club where we have sauna and cold plunge. We actually did a partnership with Lighthouse, and I'll be able to teach calisthenics and acro as well as teach this beautiful practice of primal. And it's a beautiful modality that is, I would say, calisthenics, yoga, and mixture of like Pilates all the way up to handstand training, which is like my joy. And so to continue to spread that practice to the world, I think it's like a very accessible, functional fitness way to get into just a better shape, more mobile and stronger, and get you into handstands, which is something that I'm really passionate about. I think everyone should have a handstand practice in their life. It's a beautiful, I'd say, meditative art, and workout at the same time. So it's kind of one of my joys in life. And the future is that I am really inspired by a few of the friends that are members here at Lighthouse that are keynote speakers, and are motivational speakers. And I think that there's an opportunity to maybe motivate and inspire more people, not only through the art of speaking, but also combining my joy of performing. And so I've been working on an act that's stacking chairs up on top like you would see at a circus show, and then talking about what it's like to find balance, or even when life turns you upside down. And so working on this new art and speech and keynote that'll help create that for the world. And then I'm really passionate about more of the retreats that we've been doing. We've had the opportunity to work together on a lot of the Awakened Warrior retreats. And I've been also to work with my girlfriend in the revolutionary retreats and go to Bali, but to help people find transformation. I know that one of your questions was kind of a dark time in your life. And there was a time in my life where, like I said, my parents had gotten a divorce, and then my business partner and I split up, and my life partner at the time that I was living with, we all left at this. It all kind of came to a culmination at the same time. And that was a really dark period of time, but working with and going through this process, Hoffman process, and working through different modalities of just how to understand not only my emotional self, but also my intellect, and also my body and my spirit, and understanding that. I think that was really powerful. And also working with a place called Arcana down in Peru, which is really powerful, and working with my buddy Brandon, who has the Warrior Retreats. I'm really excited to continue to offer a space for people to find healing, find movement, find joy, return back to primal, and hopefully motivate people not only through the movements that I do, but hopefully through speaking, or a combination of both. So, yeah.
Thank you. And one last thing,
yeah,
because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
Who is someone that you'd like to celebrate right now that maybe is in need of a little bit of extra push, or somebody that you, either admire or you're grateful for? Like, who is one person in particular that you'd like to celebrate?
Yeah. Well, we'll bring it back full circle. Mystic Mom. Give a shout out to my mom. She's definitely on a journey of life that's unique and on her own. And I could say both my parents, they're kind of on this like new chapter. They're in their 70s and kind of redoing life at this point. So I think it's never too late to not necessarily have a redo, but to reshape or pivot in what you're doing. And I know that I was really inspired by a podcaster named Rich Roll, and he totally changed his life. Like right after he turned 40, he was, I think, partner in a law firm and married with kids, and it was using alcohol and had chasing material success, and he just had a breakdown. He's like, this isn't the answer. And so he went vegan and stopped drinking and got into a spiritual practice and started podcasting and started running and became one of the top ultra marathon runners, I think, in his mid 40s. And I was like so inspired by that. And I had a similar experience when I was in my 30s with just becoming a ninja, right? And I think now that I'm in my 40s, it's kind of like a pivot again and a shift again. And I think it's really cool that you can do that at any stage in life. So anyone who's like having this like urge down below in their soul, like, man, I need a change, but I'm too afraid to, like, you're not alone. And there's community, there's people like myself, there's others, there's coaches out there. That's the last thing I'd like to say is I'm excited to get more into coaching and helping people maybe find maybe motivation or power from either experiences that I've had or being able to share a little bit of the wisdom that I've been able to cultivate over the years. Or maybe it's a retreat, maybe it's a one-on-one experience, maybe it's maybe it's just one of my programs, one of my fitness programs, but being able to just help more people. Yeah, that's it at the end of the day. Even if it's just a YouTube video, like, or a handstand on Instagram and a gratitude at the sunset, like, I'm here for you. So yeah.
Okay. One last thing.
Yeah.
You hit on like people that are like seeking a change or feeling a change or like feeling that maybe misalignment inside of them. In my experience, a lot of people like hold on to that and sit with that for maybe much longer than they should. And that once they finally take whatever bold, courageous step it is after that, that their life tends to be a little bit more joyous or fulfilled in some sort of way. And so for somebody that's maybe listening to this podcast right now, that's been feeling that for months or years, what's one thing they can do today or this week to get them started on the right path and embracing that change?
Yeah. I would say two things. One, there's nature is underrated, like there's almost always always the opportunity to get more into nature. You can find not only healing, but maybe some of the answers you're looking for, with the second one being stillness or silence. And whether that's meditation or prayer or journaling or whatever that looks like. But ultimately, if you can kind of combine those two things, if you can't get into nature, at least, take some time to be alone with yourself. Go for a walk around the block. There's a guy that I find really inspiring, a guy named Colin O'Brady, and he set a world record hiking across Antarctica, and cool keynote speaker. And he worked a lot with a friend that we know, Dr. John. Shout out Dr. John and Mike Posner. They're walking across America right now.
For the second time.
I'm excited to go help them on their journey a little bit later this year. But I know that Mike Posner went through a really hard time and was very depressed. And it was that opportunity to walk alone and be in nature to find his inner voice and guidance that helped a lot in his recovery. And I've had a lot of those experiences as well, of getting into nature or even just going to the lake shrine and meditating. But Colin O'Brady has this thing, it's called the 12-hour walk challenge. And it's like for 12 hours, just move, just walk, right? And it could be around the block, or it could be, like all the way to, a mountain and back, whatever it might be.
Are you like listening to podcasts or is it just totally silent?
Totally silent. So that's the caveat. No podcast, no music. Like,
and preferably like not in a city, like where there's a lot of stimulation.
Yeah.
Preferably.
Yeah. But if you are where you live,
right.
at the time. So do wherever you feel safe, safety first. But, basically put your phone on airplane mode, keep your phone on you because if you need an emergency or whatever. But I did that, and I found a lot of joy and a lot of power in that. I also find a lot of joy in as soon as you wake up in the morning or as soon as you go to bed, that kind of that ethereal timeline of life of whereas you're just kind of waking up and you're this like subliminal dream world. If you can take an opportunity to whatever practice you need to, like whether it's journal or meditate or to just like pray to, you know, a guide of yours or a God of like, hey, like this is what's going on in my life, and be able to like not only internalize it, say it non-verbally, but if you can write it down or even, you know, talk therapy is super powerful as well. So if you share it with someone, I think group therapy is really powerful as well. Being able to share the power of sharing it in a group versus just one-on-one, whether it's a partner or anything else. I think that those are really powerful. So in conclusion, like nature, stillness, and then once you get those answers that are those fears or those excitements, being able to share them with people that you feel need to hear it or that are safe, or even a stranger. But the more that you can say those things, you can help manifest and create those. And I guess that would lead to ultimately, like maybe it's a bucket list or a dream list of like things that you want to do before you die. And then the more that you can get into the power of manifestation and realize that you are a creator and that you can create and make dreams come true. They might not happen, you know, the next day. They might happen 10 years from now, but remember that you can create amazing things with enough persistence and positivity.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Travis. Yeah. What an honor. What a pleasure.
Yeah.
This is my first podcast ever, my first episode ever.
In the books, baby, we did it.
And I appreciate you so much on just like pushing me to make this happen, and, you know, our check-ins, and yeah, I'm just excited to see how this develops. I'm excited to see how Primal and this new fitness practice and this new health club and movement plays out over the next couple of years. I'm excited to see you speaking while you're climbing up chairs and hanging upside down, and just seeing something that, you know, I don't think anybody's ever really done before.
Not too many people.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And I just so excited to see everything you create, man, because you bring such joy and such optimism and such playfulness in everything you do. So
thank you.
Appreciate you, Travis.
Yeah.
And thank you for your time today, man.
Yeah. We, you know, that's what we grow old when we stop playing, right? So don't forget the power of play. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Boom.